What's going on, guys? Welcome to my Teen Wolf.
Can I like it before and after the video?
Oh God! All right, my girlfriend's. You know what? No matter what take I do, she's gonna try to mess me up by saying something silly in the background. So, with that being said, you may hear her on her phone in the background, or you may hear probably most likely, you'll hear my computer in the background of this video because my PC just makes some weird noise constantly. So I'm sorry about that, but I am super excited to talk about this show because it is a show that's super nostalgic to me because I would say there's probably two main shows that I really obsessed over and just always look forward to absolutely above all else back in the day. I'm more of a TV show connoisseur now where I like a little bit of everything. Mostly I'll give everything a shot, but back in the day, man, Teen Wolf and Walking Dead were absolutely up at the top for me. Teen Wolf, summertime was obviously the best time when you were a kid, and Teen Wolf came on mostly during the summer. A few seasons I think it did start to come on in the wintertime, but it was mostly a thing I associated with summertime, and just super awesome, amazing nostalgia for this show for me. So yeah, shout out to whoever made this tier list because tier lists are not too easy to come by with some things. I found a lot of character ranking tier lists, but I could not find that many seasons tier list, which I think is the most interesting thing to make. But if you haven't seen the show and you just so happen to watch this, I would assume most people who are watching this have seen the show. I'm just going through and making sure my OBS is working. But absolutely, I would say watch it. It is something that is made for teens, right? Because it's Teen Wolf, so obviously it's kind of made for teens, I think, and it probably just carries such weight to me where I would watch it as being 23, the age I am now, because it did have such nostalgia for me back in the day. But I would say if you're a fan of like something like the show Supernatural, absolutely watch it. You'll like this. They do such a good job throughout with having different lore with different monsters thrown in there, and it's just super interesting, the villains that they bring in and the dynamics between the mythology and that. It's just all really great, and then the characters are pretty likable throughout. You get some great characters as well. Super awesome show. If you're a fan of supernatural stuff, then definitely watch it. I feel like it's underrated for the most part, and it does feel like a little bit of a teen girl show as well. I feel like it's just because it has a lot of male characters that a lot of teen girls kind of just flock to. So I always did feel a little bit girly watching it whenever I was younger, but at the same time it's not really like that. It's like that in the way that the show Supernatural is, where Supernatural is kind of a lot of like teen younger girls like it, but at the same time if you watch it, it's like, well, it's not really explicitly or specifically just like towards that, right? If you understand what I'm trying to say. But anyway, let's go ahead. We'll rank the seasons 1 through 6 it got, and I was thrilled to see it made it to 6 seasons because a lot of points I thought it might get chopped, but it did not. So let's start off with season 1. So this one is absolutely the most probably cringe season looking back at it. I've seen some clips. Season 1 and 2 is probably both in that category, but season 1 more so. Not that it was bad, it was absolutely the startup story that the show needed. But it was 2011, MTV 2011 doing a show like this, I think was something kind of unheard of. And I've watched some clips from season 1 online, like current day, and just from my viewpoint now, I'm like, oh god, it's just the effects weren't great. I don't know if I want to say the acting, maybe the editing was the problem. The dialogue, I don't know what it was. It's not all just horrible though. It's not horrible, at least in my mind, to my memory. But I'm just probably gonna have to say just okay, and I think that's a little bit of a high ranking for it, right? It was just for no particular reason of its own, other than it was just something starting out super new and experimental with MTV back in 2011, I think. So let's see, we're gonna have to kind of go through and pick. Season 2 is a big favorite in my mind. I'm gonna have to say it's great. It's a great memory for me. Season 2, absolutely awesome with the Kanema storyline with Jackson. Was super interesting figuring out who that was. Maybe it was more predictable if I watched it now. You know, it would be more predictable from an adult's perspective. But when I was young, I was like, you know, probably like 13, 14, or maybe even younger at the time of watching season 2. I was probably like 12 actually. So yeah, but at the time it was super interesting with Jackson, who was the Kanema storyline. And but yeah, it still kind of continues in that same, because season 1 and 2 were both shot in Georgia, whereas the rest of it was shot in LA. And yeah, different budget, just different production crew, I think, for all of that. And so it still kind of carries over some of the same feels from 1, but a lot of stuff that was set up in 1 was kind of paid off in 2 in a good way. So definitely season 2 was a lot better than season 1, but I think I might maybe move it down to good, just because I'm sure if I watched it back now, I may find some of the stuff a little bit in the same kind of cringe or cheap factor of season 1. But then again, it does have the nostalgia, so I'm gonna put it at great just for me. I'm gonna put season 2 at great, just because yeah, you kind of get the setup for the storyline in season 3 with the not true alphas. What was it? All of this stuff I will go ahead and say I'm not going to remember to the best of my ability, just because it has been years and years since I've seen this. Like, what has it been? 10 years almost since season 2, or 10 years, and 10 years since season 3, maybe, right? So yeah, it's been a long time. But yeah, they always set up storylines to come pretty well early on in Teen Wolf, and they set up the alpha plot at the end of season 2. And yeah, some cool characters with that. You get let's see, Derek making his own pack when he becomes an alpha. And yeah, I'll try to go back and give a little bit more detail. In season 1 with Peter and Kate and things like that were cool, seeing them and what it all becomes later on. So yeah, nostalgic, absolutely. Anyway, let's move on to season 3. I guess, so season 3 was whenever they started to split the seasons. You had season 3A, and then you had season 3B. So season 3A was solid. I would say I was a little bit disappointed though with how the I keep wanting to say true alphas. What was it? Deucalion's alpha pack, where you have the cool concept again, a cool concept where you have the alphas kill their own pack to become more powerful. Right, super awesome idea that Jeff Davis had. Jeff Davis did all of these seasons, you know, and that's usually where you come up with the best shows, where you have the same showrunner throughout everything. So yeah, Jeff Davis was awesome with this. And so yeah, for whatever reason, I did find this season a little bit disappointing, even though it was, I guess, solid with the actor who plays Deucalion in there. He was awesome. So, and again, a lot of this is just off of memory. I haven't just watched these. This has been years ago. Kind of like with my American Horror Story tier list, we did, you know, just initial thoughts. I'm just going to have to say good, because I don't remember it being bad for any particular reason, but I just kind of, I know what it was with this season that made me put off to it, is it had a different production crew than seasons 1 and 2, and they moved to Cali, and just a lot of shit changed. Styles' hair was longer. That's just a little side note, but it was just one of those things that bothered me when I was younger. Like, there was a lot of change in season 3. And what else? Jackson left the show, which was unfortunate. After season 2, it set him up to be an interesting character. Whenever he first got changed into a werewolf, you're gonna be excited to see where that went. And luckily, we get to see it pay off kind of later on, a lot later on. But yeah, season 3 went through a lot of changes for the show. Was the start of a lot of changes, so that's why season 3 was a little bit diminished in my mind. And then let's see, season 3B, absolutely great. I would say even above great, if we had a ranking for that, because yeah, season 3B, absolutely amazing season. I remember, you know, even back then having less experience with TV shows than what I currently have now. The lead up to finding out which main character was gonna get killed off, die. You know, I'm pretty sure from the trailers we could tell it was gonna be a main one. They advertised it was gonna be Derek, Styles, Scott, or Allison. So yeah, absolutely awesome season with the build up to that. The Nogitsune, I think the Japanese lore with that villain. I think it was the Nogitsune. Like I said, I can't really remember too well. But putting Styles in the place as the villain, Dylan O'Brien, absolutely amazing actor, kills it on Teen Wolf from season 1 to the very end. Absolutely awesome seeing him and his acting chops. Yeah, he's in the forefront of that poster there because he takes the main head of the storyline as he does in 6A, I believe. But yeah, just super dark, just awesome. Like I said, performances, just everything about 6B was awesome. Or not 6B, I'm sorry, 3B was awesome. Above great, the best season of the show. I don't think anybody would dispute me on that. Absolutely awesome. Everything about it. You know, you get Malia introduced in there, and a lot of cool stuff with Styles as the villain. You know, like I said, I can't remember specifics, but I could go on and on about how it was great. I'm sure if I rewatched it or back in the day, I knew it was something special. And then 4, so you know, spoilers for this, but we did lose Allison in season 3 B. You know, at the time I was pretty butthurt about that. I didn't really like the change, but you know, I think it did fit pretty well in season 3 how they did that, and how it pushes. I can't remember Chris. I think Chris Argent is Allison's dad's name, and it pushed that actor. You know, he's always awesome in the show. He grows out his beard when he loses his daughter and everything. Pushes him to be a cooler character. Big change again, like in the start of season 3, you get in season 4. Without her, you get Malia having to take more of a forefront in the show. Without Allison there, I think Kira, you know, I think her character was very strange always, I think, to me, because she was supposed to have her own spinoff or something they were planning to do with her, but that never happened. So yeah, season 4 had a salty place in my heart because of losing Allison, you know, such a main part of the story. But not only that, so season 4A, I think, I don't know, did they break this one up into 2 parts? Let's see, 4A, 4B, 5B. I don't think they broke. I think season 4 was just like 12, 13 episodes. But yeah, season 4 overall, I would say, was just meh. Because they had Kate and Peter set up to be the big villains of that. They had the benefactor, I think, in the first few episodes, which was a cool concept, I guess, but still is kind of like an overblown Hunter storyline where you have the assassins and each character was kind of ranked differently on who was the top of the hit list. Oh, and that reminds me, something I wanted to say about season 3. You had Scott as his build-up, 3A as, or down here, Scott's build-up to being the true alpha storyline was cool, right? His rise to leadership, even though I feel like Scott overall in the series was never really a leader. And I don't know if that just has something to do with the actor or not. I think it's alright towards the end because you kind of get used to it, but for 3A, B, and then probably 4 as well, I don't know, Scott didn't really feel like like he really deserved the true alpha storyline. I don't know. I don't know if Tyler Posey just isn't that great of an actor for a lead, you know. Maybe in comparison to Dylan O'Brien, he doesn't feel that way. But although I would say if you see Tyler Posey in real life and how he acts, he's really off the wall, kind of crazy type of personality. Then you'd be like, oh yeah, he acts really good as Scott, because he's not like that at all. But in real life, yeah, he's super like eccentric. But yeah, so season 4 was probably the biggest season that I would say is at the lowest, because you had the villains from season 1, which is a cool concept to have them come back and be the big villains in season 4. Absolutely awesome, but it was done in such a messy way. Really, it has the Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 vibes, where they just bring all the villains back, and it just doesn't really amount to anything that good. They're just kind of there, and that's what makes it cool. But what they're doing, or how they're doing it rather, is just kind of lame. I mean, they set up the Scott versus Peter thing, which was cool because that was the conflict in season 1. But yeah, that should have either been fleshed out more to the very last storyline, or just done better in season 4. Season 4 had some weird vibes to it for sure. I mean, I'm super glad they kept Peter around, and had Allison's aunt come back. I'm not sure what her name was. I want to say Jill Wagner was the actress's name, but maybe not. But yeah, season 4 was just... I know specifically the last scene justifies the whole season being super strange for me, because they had like a scene where Scott and Derek just kind of nod to each other, and that was Derek's exit for the rest of the series up until the very end. But it was just like they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know how to write him out. They just didn't know. They weren't sure where they were going. It was just very strange. They were just like, it was a mess. It was a pretty big mess. And even back then, like I said before, I was as experienced with TV shows as I am today. I could tell, like, okay, this is something's up here, you know. But super big disappointment though, because like I said, having Allison's aunt and Peter Hale, I can't remember the actor's name right now for some reason, but he sticks in for most of the series. And he's great, you know. And always having the start villain end up being the last villain or whatever is great, or coming back at some point is super awesome. But that season was a mess. And then so season 5A is and 5B as well, I would say, are the seasons that I remember the least, you know. But I will say that they're probably, just in my mind, I'm going to go ahead and move them both up to just okay, because they are both, I'm trying to see which one is yeah, it's this one. 5A and 5B are the most okay seasons of Teen Wolf that I've seen, even though season 1 is in my okay category, because you have the Dread Doctor, super cool concept for villains. Again, it's super, you know, unique for sure. But you know, it was just like I said, it was just okay. They try to bring Malia, Liam. You know, I think Liam was in season 4, right? I'm pretty sure Liam. His whole storyline was pretty great. Having Scott kind of come full circle and be Derek, be in the same position as Derek was back in season 1. I like that a lot. Looking back at it, at first when I saw it, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. But looking back at it, I like it a lot. But yeah, you kind of get Liam. Liam's, I'm sorry, it's just the best way I can remember. Liam's gay black friend. You know. Let's see. We had Cody Christian. I don't remember his character. I think it was Theo. Being kind of a young Peter Hale is really who he was, a villain that kind of tried to redeem himself. And I think he did that in a pretty good way. He acted that really well. But yeah, the Dread Doctors were a super interesting villain. Eichenhaus was a cool concept. I think executed a little bit iffy, you know, kind of because we didn't really hear about Eichenhaus until I think season 5 maybe. But you know, so yeah, nothing really particularly wrong with season 5A. But you know, I was just like, all right, this is all right. Not 3B for sure. And then we get 5B, which was the Beast. Which honestly, I may move the Beast. I like 5A better than 5B to my memory. I might even move that down to there. Will I? Because I mean, it kind of all continues on. I remember the flow of the Dread Doctors, and the Beast, kind of all flow together. So I guess I'll just leave it there. But you know, I remember the gay black guy. He was the Beast, I think. You know, I think they had Deucalion come back from season 3, which was awesome utilization of his character as well. And yeah, too bad I can't really remember too much specifics, but that's all I can really say is season 5 was just okay. It was definitely an improvement, huge improvement from season 4, which I'm glad they saw. Okay, we need to improve on season 4, and they did. But like I said, just man. Okay, so season 6A, I'm gonna say is great. I don't think many people feel that way about it, and I think that's because Styles isn't in it much. Because Dylan O'Brien, you know, he's an awesome actor throughout this series. I think this series is what made him big, honestly. But yeah, so this season was where he wanted to dip out and do movies. I think he did the Maze Runner series, maybe that's what it was. But he could have left entirely, you know, I think. But this was a super smart way of making him the focus of the plot main focus without making him in the plot. So the Riders of the Storm, I think is what they call them. They wiped him from everybody's memory or something like that. I don't know. What made me want to do this video was a few days ago. I was watching the trailers for just today. I was watching the trailers for Teen Wolf, and I was like, yeah, I want to talk about this show. So I'm just honestly going off what the trailers tell me about it just a little bit. But so yeah, they forgot about Styles, and it made him the huge focus. Because they're trying to remember him, recall information about him, whatever it is. You get to figure out the origins of his name, Styles Stalinsky. It's not his full name. I don't remember what his full name is, but it really brings him again to the forefront. Absolutely awesome without having him there really much at all. And yeah, you get some really heartwarming moments, I think, because you do miss his character a lot, and obviously all the other characters miss him because he's just an awesome character. And yeah, so it was really great, really nostalgic, really pulls out the heartstrings a lot, and awesome, especially because it's the beginning of the end for the final season of Teen Wolf. I know that 6B, I interestingly enough found this out today. 6A, I'm sorry, this part of the season ends in a way where it kind of wraps off Scott and Styles' storyline really well. I remember where it ends off where the first season ended. Or started off with Scott and Styles. They hear, what is it, the last scene in 6A ends off with, they hear like a body is found, and they're like, you want to go investigate? And they're like, no, and they just turn the radio and change the station, because in season 1 they hear about the body being found, and they're like, oh yeah, let's go and explore, and that's what gets Scott bit, and that's what starts the whole story there. But yeah, then they kind of have that moment in 6A I like a lot, and they're like, no, we're not doing that again. Move on. And that was when he really, Dylan O'Brien kind of left the show. And yeah, like I said, Derek left in season 4. But yeah, I like that moment. It's a nice end off for those two. And that could have been the end of the series. Apparently a lot of people thought that was the end of the series, because I watched I saw in the YouTube comments today for the season 6 final 10 episodes trailer. A lot of people were like, what? I didn't know these episodes came out. What are you talking about? I thought that scene that I just talked about was the final scene of the series. And I was like, yeah, it very well could have been, but no, there's more. Me? Yeah, of course. But there's more episodes after that. My girlfriend's asked me if I'm coming to bed. Yeah, this is the last one I'm talking about here. So, and then we get 6B, the final season, which is almost in the same boat as 4, where it had a lot of potential, but also just kind of flopped. And because of that, I'm not going to say it's in the boat of 4. I'm just going to say it's just good, just barely. I might even want to put it at okay, because some of the stuff was kind of meh. But I think I got to put it at good, just because you get Jackson coming back from season 2, which was super awesome. I hadn't seen him in a while. And then, what else? You get Deucalion, again, as a huge character in it. And you get the Hunters are basically the main villain of that, which is cool because they're the main villain in season 1. Also cool to start, always cool a series to end where you started. And, let's see, you get Geralt, I want to say Geralt, like from The Witcher, but Gerald, Allison's grandpa, coming back as the main villain was awesome. With that, you get, I think I might already said Derek coming back. Styles comes back in the very end, and they did keep him around for this last half a little bit, with having, like, I think he was at the end of episodes. They probably filmed all of this at once and then told him to go on until the very last episode. But you get to see him in the FBI. He goes on to be an FBI agent, like his dad, or a police officer. Although I wouldn't think it'd be quite that easy, but maybe. But you get to see him go on to be a law enforcement officer like his dad, which was cool. And you get to see him learn about Beacon Hills, stuff going on in Beacon Hills through investigating through the FBI, which I like that. There was some weird stuff with Malia in here, though, I think, between maybe 5 and 6. I don't remember. But she kind of gets passed around a lot in this show. Like, I think she was a cool character to keep around because of her uniqueness and where she came from and all that, but I feel like they never really knew what to do with her, where to put her, so she just kind of floated around. But I think she ends up with Scott at the end of this. But yeah, overall, the ending of Teen Wolf, it kind of starts where it began. I think with Scott kind of recruiting somebody who was like him, you know. But yeah, they had it was like everything was kind of all right. I did like how in the final battle, Scott has to fight blind, which is like the coolest way to defeat your final boss. And he fights all the villains he ever faced. I forget how he came to that, but it was like a shapeshifter thing that turned into all the different villains he had ever faced, which was super cool. So yeah, for all of those reasons and all the characters they brought back, and they really cared, that you can tell they cared and they tried their best. And yeah, it wasn't bad by any means. You can tell there was a lot of heart behind it, I guess, through the whole series really. So that's why I'm going to put that in good. So anyway, I think that's basically it. Like I said, there's a lot of different aspects I could probably keep talking about with this show. I think it's definitely worth a watch for sure. And yeah, it's always going to have a super nostalgic place in my heart. Yeah, like I said, I'm sure I'm probably missing something here. There were some characters that really never got ends. Isaac, I think you kind of hear about what happens to him at least. I'm trying to think who else. Chris Argent was an awesome standout, for sure. Peter Hale, I think I already covered most of this. Trying to think of anything else. Lydia, she was a good actress for sure. Coach was cool, throughout. The lacrosse coach. Danny, I don't know what happened to Danny at one point. He was just kind of gone. So yeah, so that's it. So that's my Teen Wolf Seasons tier list. I think I covered it pretty good. Please let me know if you come across this and you've watched the show. Please tell me your season rankings or something about the show. I think that show's pretty well and alive in some people's mind. I think some people still do like tier list, or not tier list, like fan-made trailers wanting another season to come. But no, I think that's it. Although I think Tyler Posey is probably still down to do another season himself. So yeah. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next tier list video, or whatever video it is. I don't know. It may not be a tier list.